January 23, 2025, News Report 1. Fox News reported that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, carried out a nationwide operation from midnight on January 21 to 9 a.m. on January 22, during which over 460 illegal immigrants were arrested. The operation covered several states, including California, Illinois, Utah, Minnesota, New York, and Florida. The arrested illegal immigrants came from over a dozen countries, including Mexico, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Brazil, Angola, and Colombia. Some of the detainees had criminal records, with crimes including sexual assault, robbery, drug trafficking, and domestic violence. Additionally, the New York Post reported that on January 21, ICE arrested 308 illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities such as Boston, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Seattle. These illegal immigrants will be deported. According to NBC, in September last year, ICE arrested an average of 280 illegal immigrants daily. In comparison, during the Trump administration, the daily arrest numbers were only about 20 higher than under the Biden administration. News Report 2. According to Japan's Kyodo News, the Suzhou Intermediate People's Court in China sentenced Zhou Jiaxing to death on January 13 for the crime of intentional murder. Zhou is the suspect who killed Hu Yuping, a guide at the Suzhou Japanese school, last year. The trial began at 10 a.m. and lasted only 10 minutes. The Consul General of Japan in Shanghai, Okada Shigeo, attended the trial as an observer. The Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs told Kyodo News that during the trial, it was revealed that Zhou Jiaxing, 52, was an unemployed individual who had moved from Anhui to Wuhu, Jiangsu. The court determined that Zhou developed a negative outlook on life due to his reliance on borrowing money and carried out the crime. The trial did not provide detailed information about the incident. According to earlier reports, the incident occurred on the afternoon of June 24 last year when a school bus from the Suzhou Japanese school stopped at a bus station after school. Zhou suddenly approached and stabbed a Japanese boy and his mother with a knife, attempting to continue his attack. At this point, Hu Yuping, the guide, intervened, but Zhou repeatedly stabbed him, causing severe injuries. Hu Yuping died the next day. Zhou was arrested at the scene and formally charged at the end of November last year. The case was publicly heard on January 9 this year. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary, Hirokazu Matsuno, condemned the crime at a press conference on January 23, emphasizing that such criminal behavior cannot be tolerated, and strongly urged China to ensure the safety of Japanese citizens in China. Matsuno also mentioned several other recent attacks on foreigners in China, including the stabbing of a Japanese boy in Shenzhen in September last year and the injury of 4 American teachers in Jilin in July last year. These incidents have sparked concerns about the roots of hate crimes. Although there are suspicions that these events may be linked to anti-foreign sentiment in China, the Chinese government has consistently categorized such incidents as isolated cases and has kept the details of the cases strictly confidential. The Zhou Jiaxing case has raised widespread questions due to the unclear motivation for the crime. News Report 3. The Brooklyn Federal Court in New York sentenced Chinese national Zheng Kanjiaying to 1 year and 4 months in prison on January 22 for interstate stalking. Zheng was accused of participating in China's Operation Fox Hunt and traveling to New Jersey to track down Su Jin, a former director of the Wuhan Municipal Development and Reform Commission. According to prosecutors, Zheng posted threatening notes at Su's home, saying, "If you're willing to return to mainland China and serve a 10-year sentence, your wife and children will be fine. This matter will end here." This behavior was considered an attempt to use threats to force Su to return to China to face trial. Additionally, another Chinese national, Zhu Yong, was sentenced to 2 years in prison on January 17 for the same charge of interstate stalking and for acting as an illegal foreign agent. Zhu's actions were also linked to Operation Fox Hunt. Operation Fox Hunt is a Chinese government overseas anti-corruption initiative aimed at bringing fugitives accused of economic crimes back to China using various methods. However, such operations have been criticized in some countries for violating local laws, especially when threats and stalking are carried out without proper law enforcement authorization. This case has once again raised concerns about the legality and international impact of Operation Fox Hunt. News Report 4. According to the Old Times, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council announced on January 23 the cancellation of the household registration of 3 Taiwanese residents. The first individual is Taekwondo athlete Lee Dongxian, who won a bronze medal at the 2023 Asia-Pacific Masters Games in South Korea. However, during the awards ceremony, Lee wore a Chinese Taipei team uniform and raised the Chinese national flag, publicly stating, "I am very proud to be Chinese." Afterward, Lee also posted a photo of his Taiwan household registration on social media, revealing that he had settled in Xiamen, China. The second individual is Su Shiren, who was verified by netizens as a former member of Taiwan's Marine Corps 66th Brigade and is now living in Fuzhou, Fujian Province, China. Previously, YouTuber Ba Jiong displayed a batch of Chinese identity cards held by Taiwanese residents, including Su Shiren's card. The identity of the third individual has not been disclosed by the Mainland Affairs Council. Spokesperson Liang Wenjie stated that since this person did not appear on the Ba Jiong program, their information will not be disclosed at this time. The Mainland Affairs Council emphasized that the cancellation of these individuals' Taiwan household registration is based on relevant laws, and those who renounce their Taiwanese identity, move to mainland China, and publicly declare allegiance to China will continue to be dealt with according to the law. News Report 5. According to Reuters, the American Chamber of Commerce in China released the China Business Environment Survey Report on January 23. The report showed that 51% of respondents from U.S. companies operating in China are concerned about the further deterioration of U.S.-China relations, the highest level in nearly 5 years. In addition, U.S. businesses expressed concerns about other issues, including geopolitical tensions, policy uncertainties in China, and the ongoing U.S.-China trade dispute. The survey indicated that 21% of respondents no longer view China as a preferred investment destination, a figure that has doubled compared to pre-pandemic levels and increased by 3 percentage points from 2023. The report also pointed out that 33% of respondents believe that foreign companies are treated unfairly in areas such as market access and government procurement compared to local Chinese companies. This survey was conducted between October and November of last year, with 368 U.S. companies operating in China participating. The report highlights the significant impact of the current U.S.-China tensions and related policy environment on foreign companies' confidence in China. News Report 6. According to CCTV, China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, in collaboration with 18 other departments, recently released the Measures for the Protection of Personal Information of Children in Difficult Situations. These measures explicitly prohibit the use of personal information of children in difficult situations for activities like fundraising and live-streamed sales. In recent years, some public welfare influencers have posted videos of children's lives in difficult circumstances on online platforms to attract social attention and raise donations. For example, influencer Liang Tian posted a short video about children with blood diseases, attracting 110,000 Douyin, TikTok China, users who donated a total of 1.81 million yuan, helping over 36,000 sick children. Additionally, influencer Zhang Yi posted a video about children in the mountainous areas of Shizhou County, Chongqing, raising funds for 50 solar-powered streetlights. Although these fundraising activities helped many children in need, the new policy emphasizes that fundraising cannot involve children's personal information. This regulation has sparked some controversy. Some argue that the policy's intention is to protect children's privacy but may negatively impact the efficiency of charitable fundraising, as public attention may be harder to garner without the use of children's personal data. Economist Zhang Weiying stated that social welfare is an important indicator of national prosperity, and welfare distribution should prioritize vulnerable groups, reflecting the level of civilization. He believes that if welfare favors the powerful while leaving vulnerable groups without adequate protection, it violates principles of civilization and harms human rights and social justice. The Chinese government's goal in implementing this policy is to protect children's privacy, but finding a balance between privacy protection and public welfare assistance remains a challenging issue that requires further exploration. News Report 7. According to social media reports, approximately 200 sanitation workers in Yangjiang, Guangdong Province, have been on strike since January 17, and the strike has now lasted for a week. The main reason for the strike is dissatisfaction with the wages offered by the outsourcing company. Reports indicate that the workers earn about 2,300 yuan per month, which amounts to less than 100 yuan per day. The new requirements proposed by the outsourcing company not only fail to increase wages but also call for longer working hours, reduced pay, and increased fines, sparking workers' dissatisfaction. During the strike, most of the sanitation work in Yangjiang has stalled. Currently, only a dozen workers are still working, leading to garbage piling up and unpleasant odors affecting the city's appearance and hygiene. The workers stated that their current wages are insufficient to cover basic living expenses, and further pay cuts are unacceptable. As a result, they chose to strike to express their demands for more reasonable compensation. As of now, the local government and the relevant companies have not publicly responded to the matter. The strike highlights the income difficulties and labor rights issues faced by grassroots workers in some regions and has sparked public discussions on outsourcing and worker. News Report 8. According to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, the Star Return Home Project has registered information on approximately 1,800 Chinese citizens who were kidnapped to Myanmar. These individuals were mainly forced to engage in telecom fraud, with most of them being held in telecom fraud camps in Mayawati, Myanmar. 93% of the individuals on the list are male, with an average age of 27. This list was voluntarily compiled by the victims' families and has been submitted to the Chinese government, but the registration work has now stopped, and no new information is being accepted. The families expressed confusion, believing that many more victims who have not yet been registered need help. They pointed out that China's current laws mainly target the trafficking of women and children, but there are no clear protective measures for adult males kidnapped to Myanmar for telecom fraud, which has made it difficult for some victims to receive effective assistance. The report analyzes that the core of telecom fraud lies in two major industries. One is the data sales industry, where personal information of Chinese citizens is sold to fraud organizations for targeted scams, and the other is the exploitation of telecom operators' loopholes, where fake communication accounts, such as WeChat accounts, are registered in bulk to assist scams. Experts suggest that if the Chinese government can strictly regulate and crack down on illegal activities by domestic telecom operators, particularly major operators like China Telecom, China Mobile, and China Unicom, cutting off their links with the fraud industry chain, it may be possible to curb telecom fraud at its source. Fraud organizations rely on the convenience of information transactions and communication tools, which hide substantial economic benefits. The key to addressing this issue is to target the core links, such as limiting information leakage and the registration of fake accounts. Strengthening international cooperation, particularly with the Myanmar government to combat fraud camps, is also essential. News Report 9. According to Reuters, the U.S. military has moved the Typhoon medium-range ballistic missile launcher from the Laoag airport on Luzon Island in the Philippines to another secret location on the island. Sources revealed that the main purpose of this redeployment is to test the time required for the Typhoon system to move to a new launch position, emphasizing its mobility and survival advantage in potential conflicts. The Typhoon system is the first medium-range ballistic missile system deployed by the U.S. within the first island chain, covering areas along China's southeastern coastline, including Guangdong, Fujian, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. This deployment has provoked strong dissatisfaction from China, which views it as a threat to regional stability. Last April, the U.S. Army deployed the system on Luzon Island as part of a U.S.-Philippines joint military exercise. In recent years, tensions between the Philippines and China in the South China Sea have escalated, and this adjustment reflects the U.S.'s increased focus on strengthening its military presence in the region. Additionally, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken held a phone call with Philippine Foreign Minister Enrique Manalo on January 22. The U.S. State Department issued a statement noting that Blinken accused China of actions that undermine regional peace and stability and violate international law. He reiterated the U.S. commitment to the Philippines under the Mutual Defense Treaty and discussed specific measures to enhance security cooperation, expand economic ties, and deepen regional collaboration. News Report 10. According to Radio Free Asia, on January 23, Hong Kong's National Security Department took away Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute employees, Wan Shishuan and Zhu Ziyang, for questioning regarding their connections with former Deputy CEO of the institute, Zhong Jianhua. Currently, the National Security Department has also detained Zhong Jianhua's wife, 3 sons, and 3 siblings. Zhong Jianhua, who is currently in the UK, stated that the Hong Kong authorities' investigation into his family members is related to an overseas public opinion survey project he initiated. The plan aimed to form a group of 1,000 people and conduct 10 opinion polls related to Hong Kong. Zhong Jianhua believes that the Hong Kong government is extremely fearful of such surveys, worrying they would affect its rule, thus exerting political pressure on him. This incident has sparked widespread concern about freedom of speech in Hong Kong, especially as the authorities have shown intense unease about activities related to public opinion. Zhong Jianhua pointed out that authoritarian regimes' fear of public opinion has reached extreme levels, and this suppression further shows the Hong Kong government's extreme sensitivity to public voices. News Report 11. According to EP News, the Taipei District Court held a hearing on January 23 regarding a case involving People's Party Chairman Ko Wen-je. Former Taipei Deputy Mayor Peng Zhensheng pleaded guilty during the trial, and the prosecutor recommended a prison sentence of 3 years. Peng Zhensheng, who previously served as the chairman of the Taipei City Urban Planning Committee and managed the Jinhua City project, is accused of unlawfully increasing the floor area ratio of Jinhua City, violating the interests of others, and being involved in an interest-related crime. During the trial, Peng admitted to all charges and acknowledged his actions. His confession has negatively impacted Ko Wen-je's case. News Report 12. According to Yonhap News, the Constitutional Court of Korea held its 4th hearing on the impeachment case of President Yoon Suk-yeol on January 23. The trial lasted 2.5 hours. During the hearing, Yoon stated that he had anticipated that the martial law would end quickly, and it did so even faster than expected. He explained that due to the diverse political beliefs among grassroots military officers, they would not obey anti-democratic orders, so he only deployed a small number of forces during the martial law. After the National Assembly lifted the martial law, he instructed the troops to retreat. Former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun testified, stating that Yoon did not order the arrest of National Assembly members during the martial law. Kim also revealed that he had suggested deploying between 10,000 to 30,000 troops, up to a maximum of 50,000 to 60,000, but Yoon believed the martial law was only a warning, so only 250 troops were deployed. Additionally, the high-ranking Public Officials Crime Investigation Unit announced on January 23 that the Yoon Suk-yeol case has been transferred to the Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office for further handling. The Public Investigation Unit stated that, since they do not have prosecution authority, the case was transferred to the prosecutor's office to enhance efficiency. On January 15, the Public Investigation Unit arrested Yoon, and on January 19, they formally detained him. Although Yoon was questioned on the day of his arrest, he has since refused further investigation. News Report 13. On January 22, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order designating the Houthi militia from Yemen as a terrorist organization. The Trump administration had previously labeled the Houthis a terrorist organization in 2021, mainly due to their attacks on U.S. warships and merchant vessels. However, the Biden administration reversed this designation upon taking office to avoid worsening the humanitarian crisis in Yemen. Last January, the Biden administration redesignated the Houthis as a global terrorist group, but did not label them as a foreign terrorist organization. Being recognized as a global terrorist group means the organization will face asset freezes, financial sanctions, criminal liabilities, and immigration bans. In addition, the Wall Street Journal reported that on January 22, the Houthis released the Israeli cargo ships Galileo and Galaxy Leader, returning 25 crew members. The Galaxy Leader was seized by the Houthis in October 2023. The Houthis stated that they reached a ceasefire agreement with Hamas and will cease attacking ships. News Report 14. According to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, researchers in Australia are discussing the use of genetic testing as a replacement for traditional heel-prick blood screening to assess newborn health risks. Currently, newborns in Australia undergo a heel-prick blood test within a few days of birth to screen for 32 diseases, including congenital adrenal hyperplasia. About 1 in every 1,000 newborns is found to have these conditions, and if not intervened in time, these diseases could seriously impact the child's health. In Western countries, heel-prick blood screening is widely used. For instance, the U.S. screens for 37 diseases, and Canada for over 50. In China, the newborn disease screening management measures require screening for 3 diseases, including congenital hypothyroidism. With advancements in genetic technology, Australian researchers hope to use genetic testing to identify newborns' genetic information, allowing for early screening of more health risks, which could help prevent these diseases. This method is considered a more advanced and effective choice.